Welcome to another edition of Scratch. This time we're going to do something a little bit more fun. This is Greg Butler, director of Techscool, and watch what happens to our cat here. So our cat is creating an interesting star just with some very simple code. So we're going to make that right now. Isn't that fun? So I'm going to click on the red stop. I'm going to shrink this down, and there's our code. It was just like before. We're just going to create another Scratch project. So go to Scratch, we're going to create, and we're going to create something very similar to that. So again, we have our cat at the beginning. First thing we want to do is we want to add a little contrast. So we'll go to our stage area, we'll click on the paintbrush, we'll use black, and we'll use the bucket, and we'll just paint the entire background black. Pretty cool, huh? Now we'll go to the cat, and we're going to have him draw our star. So the way we do that is we do our control events. I'm going to start with that, and we'll try 4,000. That's the beauty of Scratch, is that you don't have to have the right answer right off the bat. We always start our game with a green flag, and then we also need to have a pin so that we can see what we're doing. We'll set this color. Red's fine for now, and then what we have to do is actually draw a line. So we're going to draw a line and turn. So this, as before, we did 100 steps. We'll do that again, and then we'll do 90. Now if we do this right now, let's see what happens. There goes our cat, and he's furiously drawing a square. Furiously. But that's not exactly what we had earlier. If you look at this earlier picture, we had this. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop our project and say, what happened here? He's furiously drawing a square. So if we look at our code, basically nothing is changing except that the cat is furiously moving. So it says repeat 4,000, move 100 steps, and turn 90 degrees. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's moving across 100 steps, making a 90-degree turn, going down 100 steps, making a 90-degree turn, across 100 steps and making a 90-degree turn, and then going up 100 steps, and then doing that 4,000 times over and over and over. So he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing, but that's not the pattern that we were looking for, which is that star shape. So what we actually have to do is we have to introduce a thing called variables. Repeat after me, variables. So what we're going to do with variables is we're going to create some. So under data, we can create a variable. And our first variable is going to be side. That's going to be the length of the side. And where does that belong? Right here, under the 100 steps. So we're going to set a side. So that's going to always be changing. And we're going to set it at the beginning. And obviously 0 doesn't make sense, so we'll start with 10. And then we're going to increment that side every time we go around. And let's see what happens when we do that. So we're going to use our clear function. We're going to actually add that here and see what happens. So if we stop it and click on the green function, there he goes. And there he makes a nice growing spiral just by changing the sides. Isn't that cool? So just by adding this variable side, we can see that he's growing and making a perfect square. Let's stop that and start it one more time. So there he is, drawing a square. Now his origin point was way over in the corner, and that's why he's starting there. So we need to add one more thing to our code. We're going to start always at the beginning, center of the screen. The center of the screen is 0, 0. If you remember your math, the origin is always at 0, 0, right here in the middle of the screen. So we'll click on the green flag, and there he goes, and he builds that wonderful spiral. Well, it's not really a spiral, it's like a growing square. Actually, what we want is a spiral. And so what we're going to do is we're going to play with the angle. Right now it's degrees. And so we're going to add another variable, you guessed it. We'll call it angle. And we're going to, instead of 90 degrees, we're going to set that to angle. And we're going to increment that. And we're going to set it to an initial value, but we're not going to set it to 90 degrees because we already know what that is. We'll set it to something larger, like 130, and watch what happens. So there he goes. I'll expand this so you can see him a little bit better. And then he starts growing bigger and bigger and bigger until he just disappears from the screen and it's now just on the periphery. I'll just draw that one more time. So from the beginning, we can just draw, and draw. Pretty cool, huh? So we'll just add one more permutation to that, is that we'll change the angle by bigger, change the sides by a bigger amount. We'll use a 10, and we're going to change the angle by 5 and see what happens. So again, we'll blow it up so we can see what's really going on. And there he goes. Really quickly he blows out the image. So go ahead and play with this side and the angle values and see what happens for you. Hope that you have a lot of fun with that. Take care. Bye now.